Sometimes, Allah reveals truth not through confrontation, but through silence. It's a form of divine communication that most people overlook. We tend to think clarity comes when everything is spoken, explained, or debated. But Allah often teaches us that truth doesn't always need noise to be known. In fact, silence can be the loudest answer. It can reveal what words once concealed. When Allah removes the need to speak, He opens the door for you to see asterisk. There are moments in life when you stop arguing, stop defending, stop chasing, and you simply step back. You stop trying to prove your intentions, and that's when something remarkable happens. People begin to reveal themselves. Because silence is uncomfortable for those who rely on words to maintain an image. When you stop engaging, they no longer have a stage to perform on. Their true nature begins to emerge, and Allah allows you to witness it without a single confrontation. That's His wisdom at work. He doesn't always expose through conflict. Sometimes He exposes through peace. You see, Allah's way of teaching is never random. Every silence He places in your life serves a purpose. Sometimes it's there to protect you, sometimes to guide you, and sometimes to awaken you to truths you were too emotionally invested to recognize. When you stop speaking, you remove your interference from the equation, and what remains is what Allah wants you to see. You begin to discern sincerity from pretense, love from dependency, and loyalty from convenience. Silence becomes the classroom where Allah teaches discernment, a lesson no words could ever deliver. And this is something deeply psychological as well. Human beings reveal themselves most clearly in absence. When there's no benefit left, when there's no audience watching, when you're no longer accessible, then the truth surfaces. Allah designed relationships to be a reflection of the heart's condition. Some hearts were never attached to you. They were attached to the comfort you provided. And when Allah removes that comfort, when He puts silence between you and them, it's not punishment, it's revelation. He's allowing you to see who genuinely valued you and who merely valued what they gained from you. It's not easy to accept this. Silence can feel cold. It can make you question your worth, your actions, your sincerity. But in those moments, remember this. Silence is not Allah turning away from you. It's Allah drawing you closer to understanding. He's showing you that not every presence deserves your energy, and not every voice deserves your response. He's freeing you from the illusion that your peace depends on other people's consistency. Silence becomes a tool of purification. It clears the noise so your heart can hear what truly matters. You begin to understand that silence is not emptiness, it's space for truth. Allah removes the distractions, the conversations, the constant exchange of words so you can observe. Because when you're quiet long enough, you see patterns that were once hidden. You see who reaches out when there's nothing to gain. You see who remains loyal without recognition. You see who prays for you even when you're not present. And in that stillness, Allah teaches you the power of observation, a sign of spiritual maturity. There's also a deeper spiritual wisdom here. When Allah exposes people's true faces, it's not for you to hate them, it's for you to learn. Exposure is mercy. It's Allah saying, I saw what you didn't, so I'm showing you now. He allows hearts to be revealed in silence so that you can walk forward without illusions. And if you reflect carefully, you'll realize that every person who showed their truth in your silence was a part of your spiritual evolution. They were lessons, not losses. So the next time you find yourself in a season of silence, don't rush to break it. Don't chase explanations or demand clarity. Sit with it, observe, let Allah do the revealing. Because sometimes the truth that silence unveils will save you from years of pain that words could never fix. When Allah shows you someone's true face in silence, it's not a moment of weakness, it's a moment of awakening. It's His gentle way of saying, Asterisk, now that you've seen the truth, protect your peace, guard your heart, and trust that I only remove what was never meant to stay. Asterisk, there are times in life when Allah separates you from people you thought would always stay. It doesn't always happen through conflict or betrayal. Sometimes it happens quietly, through distance, silence, or a gradual disconnection that you didn't expect. In those moments, you might wonder why. You replay memories, question yourself, and search for explanations that never come. But what if the silence itself is the explanation? What if the distance is not rejection, but protection? What if Allah is detaching you to teach you something that closeness could never reveal? You see, detachment is one of Allah's most profound tests of the heart. It's not about loss, it's about perspective. When you are deeply attached to someone, your emotions often blur your spiritual vision. You stop seeing them as part of your journey and start seeing them as your destination. But Allah, in His mercy, never allows your heart to settle in a place that isn't safe. He will detach you from what distracts you, even if it hurts, because emotional attachment can become a form of blindness, and Allah loves you too much to let you remain blind. There's a deep psychological truth here as well. Human beings crave connection. It's part of our nature. But when attachment turns into dependency, it becomes unhealthy. You begin to measure your peace by someone else's presence, your worth by their validation, your happiness by their attention. And Allah, out of mercy, begins to shake that dependency. He removes the illusion of control so that you can return to emotional balance. Detachment, in this sense, is not punishment, it's purification. It's Allah teaching you that no heart deserves to sit on the throne of yours except Him. When Allah distances you, it's often because you were too close to something that was never meant to define you. He uses silence and separation to expose truth. The person who claimed to care may fade away. The one who seemed loyal may stop showing up. It's painful to watch, but it's necessary. Because while you were surrounded by noise, you couldn't see clearly. You were listening to words instead of watching consistency. So Allah quiets everything. He allows the distance to speak louder than promises. Through that distance, He teaches you what presence never could. Sometimes Allah removes people not because they're bad, but because they've already served their purpose in your story. Maybe they came to teach you patience, to strengthen your boundaries, or to help you realize your own worth. When that lesson is complete, the connection begins to fade, and when you try to hold on, the pain only grows. But if you surrender, if you trust Allah's plan more than your emotions, you begin to see the wisdom in the separation. You realize that every detachment was divine redirection, Allah moving you away from what would have drained you, and closer to what will heal you. And this is where faith meets psychology. From a spiritual perspective, detachment is a test of tawakkul, trust in Allah. It forces you to ask, do I believe that Allah's plan is better than my preference? Can I accept that losing something I love might be saving me from something I don't see? This kind of surrender requires maturity. It requires humility. But once you pass this test, your heart gains a new kind of strength, one that doesn't collapse every time someone leaves. You start to understand that your peace was never meant to be borrowed from people. It was always meant to be anchored in Allah. So when Allah detaches you, don't fight it with resentment. Accept it with reflection. Ask yourself not, why is this happening to me? But what is Allah showing me through this? Because in every distance, there is divine disclosure, a truth you could only learn when your heart is quiet enough to listen. And maybe that's the point. Maybe Allah's greatest lessons are not in what He gives, but in what He takes away. Because only through detachment do we finally see what was real, what was temporary, and what was meant to lead us back to Him. When Allah distances you from someone, it's not a loss, it's a lesson. He's not breaking your heart, he's freeing it. When Allah shows you someone's true face, it is never meant to humiliate them, nor to harden your heart. It is, in fact, an act of divine mercy, a protection disguised as pain. You might not recognize it in the moment. It may come as a quiet disappointment, an unexpected silence, or a sudden change in someone you thought you knew. But later, when the dust settles, you begin to see the wisdom behind it. Allah's exposure is not random. He reveals hearts only when it becomes necessary for your protection and growth. Sometimes the heartbreak that breaks you is the very thing that saves you from a greater one. We often perceive exposure as betrayal. We say, "How could this person change? How could they hurt me like this?" But the truth is, they didn't change. Allah simply lifted the veil. He allowed you to see the reality that was always there, but which you were too hopeful, too trusting, or too emotionally attached to notice. In His infinite mercy, Allah exposes what would have harmed you if it remained hidden. He removes the mask before the damage becomes permanent. This is not cruelty, it is care at its most divine level. Think about it. If Allah had not revealed their true intentions, you might have built your future around falsehood. You might have continued to pour your love, your time, and your energy into something that was never sincere. So, when He unveils the truth, even if it breaks your heart, it is a gift. It is Allah saying, "I love you too much to let you continue in illusion." The pain of clarity is always better than the comfort of deception. And though it stings in the beginning, it purifies your heart from dependency on what was never real. From a psychological perspective, this kind of exposure is transformative. It forces you to face reality without filters. You stop idealizing people and start observing them. You begin to understand that not everyone's actions align with their words. And instead of resenting the truth, you start to respect it. Because once Allah reveals the nature of someone's heart, He's also revealing something about your own, your strength, your discernment, your capacity to endure. Through revelation, He matures you. He transitions you from naive trust to wise faith. And this is one of the most beautiful aspects of divine mercy. It doesn't always arrive with comfort. Sometimes mercy arrives through exposure. It hurts, yes, but it heals what ignorance would have destroyed. Every revelation you experience is a redirection, a form of divine guidance saying, "This door is not for you." You may not understand it immediately, but one day you will look back and realize that every truth Allah exposed was protecting you from a storm you could not see. It's also important to understand that Allah's exposure is not for revenge. It's not for you to gloat or wish harm on others. When He reveals someone's truth to you, it is not an invitation to hatred. It's an invitation to wisdom. Allah is teaching you discernment, not bitterness. You are meant to walk away enlightened, not vengeful. Because the lesson is not about them, it's about you. It's about learning to trust Allah's judgment more than your own perception. So when Allah shows you someone's true face, thank Him quietly, even if it hurts, even if it feels like loss. Because what He's actually doing is shielding you. He's saying you don't belong in deception, you belong in truth. Every exposure is Allah's way of cleaning the path before you are removing what would have distracted you, delayed you, or destroyed your peace. You may not always get the closure you hoped for, but you will always get the clarity you need, and that is enough. Because once Allah reveals the truth, He expects you to act upon it, to detach, to forgive, to grow, and to protect your heart from falling into the same trap again. So the next time truth is revealed in silence, remember this. Allah exposes to protect, not to punish. And when He does, don't hold on to what He has already unveiled. Let go with gratitude. Because when Allah removes falsehood from your life, it's only to make space for something real, something honest, something pure, and something destined for you. Silence is not weakness. It is strength in its purest, most refined form. In a world that glorifies reaction and noise, the one who learns to stay silent, observe, and wait for Allah's timing has achieved a level of spiritual maturity few ever reach. When Allah shows you the truth through silence, He's not just revealing others, He's refining you. He's teaching you patience, discernment, and emotional intelligence. Because silence is not the absence of response, it is the presence of understanding. There comes a point in every believer's journey when words no longer suffice. You've explained yourself enough, defended yourself enough, tried enough, and Allah, in His wisdom, brings you into a phase where you must let silence speak for you. It's a test of restraint, a test of trust. Can you allow Allah to reveal what needs to be revealed without your interference? Can you resist the urge to justify yourself and instead let your silence carry its own eloquence? That's where real growth begins. You see, silence exposes both others and yourself. It shows you who can handle your stillness and who only thrives in your constant validation. But it also shows how much of your peace was dependent on external noise. When you stop engaging in every argument and every emotional reaction, you start to see where your energy truly belongs. You begin to understand that not every truth needs to be defended, not every betrayal needs to be avenged, and not every person deserves a response. Silence teaches you to value your peace over your pride, and this is deeply psychological. Modern psychology tells us that silence triggers discomfort in people who rely on control. They need to provoke, to dominate, to keep you reacting, because your reaction feeds their illusion of power. But when you choose silence, you take back control of your emotional space. You disarm manipulation without conflict. You stop dancing to someone else's tune and move at your own rhythm. In that quiet space, you grow stronger. You learn that silence isn't submission, it's strategy. It's how Allah trains your soul to operate with wisdom, not impulse. From a spiritual lens, silence is a form of tazkiyah, purification. It burns away your ego, forcing you to confront yourself rather than blame others. When you remain silent in the face of hurt, you are learning reliance on Allah instead of validation from people. You are allowing your heart to soften without becoming bitter. This is the silence that heals, not hardens. It's the kind of silence that the Prophet they practiced, responding to ignorance not with anger, but with dignity. Because the wise know that silence carries a weight words can never match. When Allah reveals truth in silence, He is not only exposing others, He's transforming your perception. You begin to see not through your emotions, but through clarity. You stop labeling everything as loss or betrayal and start recognizing divine lessons hidden beneath discomfort. You see that some people were never meant to stay, and some conversations were never meant to continue. You understand that silence itself is an answer, a revelation that requires no explanation. This transformation through silence shapes your entire spiritual outlook. You become less reactive, more reflective, less focused on what people did, and more focused on what Allah is teaching through it. You begin to operate from inner stability, not external chaos. And that is true spiritual strength, the ability to stand firm, speak less, observe more, and let Allah unfold the truth in His own time. So when Allah brings you into silence, don't fight it. Don't rush to break it. Sit within it. Listen to what it's revealing, not just about others, but about you. Because in that stillness, you discover your own resilience, your own clarity, and your own connection to the divine. Silence becomes your shield and your teacher. And perhaps that's the greatest truth of all. When Allah shows you truth through silence, He's not just unveiling the world around you. He's awakening the world within you.